Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on. I hope you can hear me. Hope everything is going okay. If not, let me know over in the comments. And let me put up the invitation link here. I'm back in the back. I haven't been on this computer for a while. And so I had to log in, and then I had to get a verification code and all this stuff. So running a little bit behind, and there is the stream. Okay. Let's see. Does this pin it? Okay. There is the link for the stream. Hello, everybody. We're going to be on here for a bit. Chris is going to be joining us. Some other people are going to be coming up. I want to tell you that Lori Arnold is broadcasting live from Austin, Texas, outside of a Scientology protest that's going to be happening tomorrow. We're going to talk about Scientology a little bit tonight. Apparently a much bigger deal than I thought it was, and a lot more nefarious than I thought it was. So we'll be talking about those things coming up. I believe Chris is joining us. Hi, Chris. How are you, man? Can you hear me?
Hey, Bear, how
Hi.
are you?
Good, man. Hi, peace, love, and sunshine. How are you?
Yep, gotcha.
Got me? All right. All right. So go ahead.
okay, go ahead. We're good.
We're good?
Yep.
All right. Let's start out with Haiti real quick.
Yeah,
What's
for
up with
sure.
on in
All right.
Haiti?
So recently, the judge overseeing the assassination case of Jovenel Moise indicted his wife on criminal charges for I think
Moise's wife?
right, right, and he's saying that she was complicit in his death, in the murder, in the assassination. And I said, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, okay, he's that's a political move directly on the part of the current Prime Minister Henri. So what Henri did was, because he's controlling the judge, told him to, all right, we're gonna indict some of my political um, enemies, right? And
Yeah.
and what we're gonna do is we're gonna cast, all this negative stuff off of me and put it on them, right?
Because we've never seen that done in politics
No,
before.
never. That's never
Said,
happened.
said sarcastically for those that
Right.
don't know.
Yeah. That's never done before. So
And plus it also as we're seeing right now in Russia, it also if she is out of the picture, it takes away a rallying point for his supporters that are still out there.
well, I don't think he really has any supporters. That's the thing, you know.
Okay.
The general populace is not supporting him. The community is not supporting him.
They were
So,
okay with him getting murdered.
well, with Jovenel Moise getting murdered, no, they're
Yeah.
not. But
That's what I'm saying. By taking his wife out of the picture, you take away a rallying point for his supporters who are still out there.
okay, yeah, Jovenel Moise is, yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, that's
but
what I'm saying.
yeah, but the point, um, it's you can take her out of the picture, okay, but ultimately, the community didn't support him regardless. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And now you have other people talking about the overthrowing of the government. Okay, like this just might make it even worse. You see what I'm saying? So you're making her complicit in the death, of her husband, Like people aren't believing. Like if people actually believe that, that's ridiculous. But some people will believe it, and the communities be like, look, that's BS. You're just you know putting these charges on her because you want to you know get that monkey off your back. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And put it somewhere else where it really doesn't belong. It's a
Right.
deflection. So but I
Okay.
really hope that the Haitian people are reading this.
Where does um if the current prime minister is overthrown, where does that leave America? Because
Okay, so
this
what?
guy's kind of propped up by us, right? At the moment, if he's overthrown, does that not leave a void for a Russia or Chinese backed prime
Well,
minister?
yeah, it does because wait, because remember we talked about um the Jimmy Barbecue Cherzay, right? We haven't heard
Hmm.
anything from him
Right.
at all lately. Okay, and um I think CARICOM is down there trying to forge ties between the gangs. Okay, now, now you have this other guy, Guy. I forgot what Guy's last name is, but he was the rebel leader
Yeah.
back in 2004 that was instrumental in
Just recent,
overthrowing. Uh, yeah, in '04 he was instrumental in overthrowing Aristide. Okay,
and he just
so like I
returned.
said,
Just
he
recently
took
returned in the last a couple of months. He
exactly.
just got back on
So
the
he
island,
was
and yeah.
right. So he was locked up, right? Well, I think some drug
Hmm.
stuff or something like that. Now he's back out, and he's the one who's like, it's time for revolution. It's time for this government to be overthrown. Because February 7th was the date that that's the election day in Haiti, but no elections even occurred. Nothing happened. So he's like,
Hmm.
that's your deadline. Now it's time for now it's time for us to take action. So um, that's where this is, and
Okay.
I'm thinking, very soon there's going to be an overthrow of the government. And I don't know if the people know the history of how they killed Dessalines. Okay, Dessalines was actually the first president of Haiti, and I guess the Haitian people were really pissed off at him. So they dragged him through the streets of down. Well, it's Port-au-Prince, but it's actually Dalmas, where they
Like a
dragged
little,
him, and like they
like
dragged him down the street.
a section of Port-au-Prince.
Right. So
Yeah.
right, and they dragged him down the street. I think by horse, and he ended up being killed. I think they dismembered him too, something like that. And who knows, if Henri, who knows what the sentiment is for him. But I've heard a lot. I read a lot, and they say he might get shot or whatnot. But the same way Dessalines was killed, who knows, what life has in store for Henri. You know, so I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
if Henri was smart, he would just like step down at this point,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
there's really not much that can be done. And the whole thing with the Kenyans coming in, I don't know
Yeah.
if that's actually going to happen. They're trying to make it happen, but right now it's at a standstill. And if the Haitians were actually going to have a revolution, this would be the time to do it.
Before the Kenyans got there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
All right. Okay. Chris, let's talk just briefly here about a term that people are. This is basically, if you're not sure what this term is, um, It's the Black Swan event. Um, Black
Uh-huh.
Swan theory is events. It's a metaphor that describes an event that comes as a surprise, has a major effect, and is often inappropriately rationalized after the fact. Um, a highly impactful event that is difficult to predict but appears to be inevitable. And we've talked about more than one potential example of this in the past years. And it just kind of feels like to me we're getting closer and closer to being on the verge of a black swan event.
Right. Right. Well, they're saying it's something that's not predictable. This is very predictable. Okay. You
Yeah.
have all these um, migrants coming in, from China and everywhere else. And this whole thing about Venezuela, right? We talk about this BRICS thing and how Russia and China are trying to, of course, destabilize the United States and the United States currency, the petrodollar, right?
Hmm.
So, a lot of those gangs are coming from Venezuela. You see, who's to sit there and
Yeah.
say China is not telling Maduro, what, send those people up there. They put sanctions on you. They did a lot of stuff to you. And here's a good way to get back at them. Send your people up in there, and we can destabilize the country. You see,
Hmm.
something to that effect, right?
Um,
So,
I'm there are conservative estimates are there have been 700 million people come across the border since 2020. Um, I mean, just common logic and common sense, which I've been told recently, quit using that term because common sense isn't so common. Um, but it would just say that there are going to be some bad actors out of that amount of people. Now, if you were going to simultaneously start riots or some kind of conflict in multiple cities around the country at the same time, we could put a check mark beside the box of potentially enough people to do that from outside the United States alone. Do you
exactly.
agree?
That's too easy, right? That's too easy, isn't
Right.
it?
But
That's really
but
easy. I
see,
mean,
the thing is,
once
go ahead.
once you get your people on the inside, you can direct them what to do. You see,
Right.
so
Right.
like that's to me that's really simple. It's really simplistic, but like to us or to me, it's just like if like what are we doing to prevent this? To actually occur, or is it something that's going to be created by design, which I think it is. You see,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The okay, it says difficult to predict, or comes as a surprise in both of the major definitions. Um, and I think both of those would apply to the vast majority of people. Um, while to you and I, it's like, oh no, this isn't going to be a surprise. As we're expecting these things to happen. The vast majority of people,
right?
it's going to be a huge surprise.
Well, I yeah, that's true. Um, but for you and I and people that follow this show, it shouldn't come as a surprise because we've been talking about this for the longest
Hmm.
time. Okay,
Right.
it's gonna be like a cyber attack. It can be a cyber attack. It could be like terrorist attacks. It could be the Chinese maybe forming an army. Like I said, you have all these Chinese males coming in here. And it's just like what's the deal? They who knows what they're up to. They could be forming an some sort of paramilitary organization to do whatever China's wants them to do. So
Or or could or
you have
cou-
to
or
figure it out.
couldn't they also be electronic technicians that know
And
how
that could be
to
that.
disrupt the power supply? And you know what I'm saying?
Of
While
course,
the military impact is the first thing we think of, when it comes to sabotage, other skills are just as necessary. They're
of
probably,
course.
I would say I would say some of the Middle Eastern foes of the United States might be putting bomb makers inside, suicide vest bomb makers, IED experts. I would say some of them have probably filtered into our country.
No doubt, no doubt, and that's part of the sleeper cell, right? And
Yeah.
and and that's what we need to be concerned about. We're facing multiple threats. Okay,
Hmm.
cyber, and then we're facing things that we're talking about. Um, there's just too many, you see, and like I said, this whole gang thing, with these Venezuelan gangs up in New York and Chicago, it's gonna turn not so good. I don't know if you saw what happened in Chicago recently. There was a lady, black lady, that pretty much jumped into the rear end of the mayor. Tell him about, hey, this is really jacked up. It's jacked up. But now she says it's time for the blacks of Chicago to take the city back. You see, so Chicago's gangland anyway. That's Al Capone's territory. Remember? So it the thing about it is um there's tons of gangs in Chicago, right? And who knows what's been said or what they've been planning. Okay, so remember I
Hmm.
told you about rounding these people up. Um, who knows what these gang members might do? These gang members might just go out and start shooting people. Listen, they shoot people left and right in Chicago like it's nothing. Like the way I drink water is the way they shoot people. Like it's nothing. You know. So don't be surprised if you see a whole bunch of like migrants end up getting killed because like they just do that on a regular basis in Chicago. I'm just saying. Okay, this is just me and being my normal um how I think ahead, you know.
Hmm. And
Um
you're a member of the black community, so people don't go off on the racist card. This is just Chris talking about how he feels and thinks, and as a former police officer.
right. So and um it's always good to be forward thinking, you see, because you want, like I said before on the last show, you want to be able to mitigate problems, be left of bang. And when I
Yeah,
talk
talk about that. Talk about the concept of being what left of bang means
okay,
in
left of
as
bang.
far as military parlance.
Right. So when we talk about being left of bang, we're really talking about being proactive. Okay. So say for instance, we're getting information on maybe an attack. Okay. So if we're getting information on attack, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? We want to implement our countermeasures. Okay. So that way, and even though we're expecting an attack, we're gonna thwart the bad guys' um, potential to commit these attacks by employing countermeasures, so they can't commit the attacks. Hence the term
Right. Right.
terrorist.
If it's a missile attack, if it's a missile attack, you hit the missiles before they're launched.
Right.
If
Exactly.
it's, yeah, being proactive.
Right. So it's just being out in front of something. Okay. A lot of times, not a lot of times, the majority of the time, majority, So what we are is we're reactive. We wait for something to happen and then we attack the problem. That's what we call being right of bang or being reactive. You want to mitigate problems before they actually occur. You see. So
Hmm.
with all these migrants coming in, that's the problem. Now, the solution to that, of course, would have been what? To shut down the border so they couldn't,
Right.
right? That's common sense 101. Shut down the
Hmm.
border so they can't come in. But now they're here. Now there's a problem. Now, what are we going to do to rectify this problem? You see, because we don't want this problem to really get out of control and to snowball downhill. So this is where we say, all right, look, start rounding these people up, get them up out of here. Because if this stuff continues and the blacks in Chicago are starting to feel threatened, and because my understanding is a lot of these migrants are moving to the black people's communities and they're getting more than the blacks, well, guess what? That's jacked up. Now, what could happen? The blacks could easily turn on the migrants. Okay, and it could be a whole bunch of violence. This is just what I'm seeing. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
um,
And
and
when you say round them up and get them out of here, we need to remind people that is the attitude of the United States when we are occupying other countries. If there are going to be potential problems, you round them up and get them out of there.
exactly right. So um, that's what a lot of that's the sentiment that I'm getting. Okay, these people have to go because they're starting to take away from us. And like I said, a lady I saw this a lady the other day, and she was a black lady, but she pretty much jumped into the butt of the mayor of Chicago, talking about we're ready to take this Chicago back. The black people are ready to take Chicago back. And I said, oh, this could be multiple things, but the way she was talking, it kind of seemed like she was really about making it physical. You see, so that's these are things that you need to be concerned about. That's all.
Okay. All right. Okay. CPAC's going on out in Washington, D.C. This weekend. And it opened by Jack. I'm not sure how you say this. POS Posobiec. I'm not sure how you say it, but evidently he's a MAGA online influencer, and he opened up CPAC with this. Welcome to the end of democracy. We're here to overthrow it completely. We didn't get all the way there on January 6th, but we will endeavor to get rid of it and replace it with this right here, the people that are up there on stage, because all glory is to God. Does that
That sounds like some Christian nationalist stuff to me,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's basically CPAC,
Yeah,
the it's the Conservative Political Action Committee, but actually it's the Christian Political Action Committee
yeah. Okay.
for the
Wow.
Republican Party. So
Okay. So I don't know what their track record is, but they're talking like that in J6, which was violent, and there's talking about kind of like doing a little bit more than J6,
yeah,
then you can expect some more violence, right?
they're talking about finishing the job.
Right.
Uh
So if they're
getting
gonna,
rid of getting rid of democracy, getting rid of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Trump is king, and there's no need for a court or Congress because there's no Constitution. And we are under a dictatorship that maybe they will let us vote every 4 years to allow Trump to remain king, you know, so we have a sense of voting. But that is the danger if this goes wrong.
right,
Now, I still don't think he's going to be. I still don't think either one of them are going to be president. But I'm just saying, if it plays out true to form as it is right now, That's the goal. The goal is to make Trump king. He doesn't want to be dictator for a day. You know, he's talked about how much he admires Putin and Xi from China and Kim Jong Un from North Korea. They're all very strong leaders. They're all freaking dictators. People need
Right.
to, you know, when they're telling you what they're going to do, you need to listen to them. And this
True.
guy's telling us they plan to end democracy, and I think we need to listen to him. All right. Tell me if you've heard this story before, Chris. A U.S. military aircraft is tracking an unidentified high altitude balloon flying over the western part of the United States.
Now, who's didn't we go through this stuff last year or the year before?
Yeah. Yeah. But this is actually from 4 hours ago, I think, 5 hours ago now. So I first picked it up about 4 o'clock this afternoon. U.S. military aircraft tracking an unidentified high altitude balloon that was over over the Colorado Rockies as of that time. So and it's supposed to track to the east southeast. But yeah.
So what? Like, is this another spy balloon from China, or like where this
I
thing
would
come?
I would assume I would, you know, they seem to be doing that. So I would assume that.
Okay, but
Um,
I mean, I'm like this is the second time though. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why would you let it go again? You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know, man. I really
Yeah,
don't know what this government's doing. I really don't. I have no clue. But
it's
it's,
yeah.
Bear. Here's the thing, and I'm saying this to everyone in the audience. I'm saying this to you too. Like, how do you not intercept something like that? You see what I'm saying? How do you not intercept it or shoot it down? If it's not yours, if it doesn't belong in the United States, it belongs to someone else,
I
right?
don't know. Yeah, it's violating our airspace.
And we just let it go. All right, man.
Okay. 45 people arrested for being child predators. Um, prostitutes, human traffickers, child traffickers, and wanting to eat children. Cannibalism. Sheriff told us about a man who said he wanted to eat a child. Yes, eat her as in cannibalism. And that was just one of the shocking details we heard at the press conference. Um, did you, okay, exactly how jacked up is our country, Chris?
It's a mess. It's a shit show 110.
Um,
Excuse me. And
and that was in
you
Greenville.
can't make
Go
this
ahead.
stuff. You can't make this stuff up. It's just the crazier it sounds, the more truthful it most likely is. You know that, right?
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
the sad part about it. That's just the
yeah.
sad part about it.
Let me hop over here to the chat. Say hey to True, Pink Flamingo. If you, I know you two. We'd like to have you two up here. If you want to hop up here, not going away. Hello, not going away is such a cornerstone to this effort, and we thank you. Hello, David B as well. Thank you all for being here. If you want to hop up here, um, here we go. True, how are you? Let me. Okay, hang on. I got your mic muted for some reason. What's the deal? Can't unmute your mic because okay, you're muted. There you
Can you
go.
hear?
I got you now. How are you?
Hey, Shalom Barry, Shalom Chris.
Shalom, how are you? Chris, do you know have you two talked before? Chris, have
We
you
have
and True
not.
talked? Okay. Chris, this is
What's
True.
going on?
True. Chris.
Shalom, brother.
Okay. Um, talk to us about we Chris and I touched on this last Friday. Um, Othel Wallace and the incident he got himself the incident he became involved in has sparked a
Two.
new a potential new law that is it seems to be very potentially oppressive. You want to
Absolutely.
you want to
I,
speak on it?
absolutely. And thank you for the time, Barry. Um, once again, I consider y'all the dynamic duo. You and Chris. Y'all do your thing. Um, but now knowing that you brought this to Chris, a week ago, it ain't no new news to him. I kind of wish it was, but are you able to, Barry, while we're on here, just given that we're both, Hoosiers, you know what I'm saying, in Indiana, are you familiar and are you able to pull up that law that they passed here in Indiana about 6 years ago and put it on? It pertained to, I don't remember the code or what, but it pertained to being the first state that in law basically says, has to do with taking lethal force against, unlawful, unjust, you know what I'm saying, unlawful. And I think it had specifically to do with home invasions. Are you able to pull that up?
I'll check. You guys go ahead
Okay,
and talk. You guys talk. I'll see what I can find.
okay. Well, just a quick question to you, Chris. Just knowing that you were in law enforcement, how do you feel about um the right to for defense, and I just want to make it clear. I was hearing what you were saying about cities like Chicago. I'm in Indianapolis, and I recently just found out a few years ago, like our per capita is worse than Chicago. It's just they got 4 million people. You know what I mean? We're only like 2 hours and 45 minutes away. So I mean it's bad. And I just want you to know, like, November 19th that just passed, that was a year ago, that I actually got shot 4 times. I died 3 times, you know. It's a blessing I'm even walking. I got hit my femoral artery, all types of I say that to basically say, even before that, I'm doing what I can. Um and I say shalom because I know through archaeology, history, science, and especially the Bible, I identify as a Judite, Israelite. It it's been a big thing for me to really try to slow down this black on black crime out here. Um, so yeah, just to get back to my first question, how do you feel about anybody's right to defend themselves, especially against an unlawful detainment or things of that nature?
All right. So let me explain something to you. So when you're dealing with that uniformed police officer, okay, understand that no one has any more authority than that individual. Okay, that uniformed officer has the authority to arrest you, take away your freedom, but furthermore, he has authority to take your life. Okay, so even if you're unlawfully detained, don't listen. You can fight that in court all day long. Okay, because if you end up doing something like um, shooting a cop over something like that, you're gonna lose all day long. Okay, you will lose all day long. But as far as um, defending yourself, okay, against other individuals, I have no problem with that against other civilians. See what I'm saying? And sometimes even against police officers. I'm not going to say that you go out and do it because there's a lot of times where these cops are dead wrong in what they do. And I think you already know that, right?
Absolutely. So what I'm hearing, so I'm hearing you speak on it not being a issue with the law enforcement officers simply because of the problems you're gonna have. That's what I'm hearing, correct?
Right. And then let me ask you this. There's a saying that we used to have, do what you can stand. Okay. Always do what you can stand. Now, if you want to take it to that level, all right, and are you willing to deal with the consequences that come with it? That's what I'm saying. You see? Are you willing
So
to
go ahead. My
yeah,
bad,
are
I
you
didn't know
willing
you.
to, are you willing to, yeah, are you willing to accept those consequences and deal with the ramifications if you're willing to take it to that level? You see what I'm saying?
Right. Okay, that brings me to my
Because
that brings
that,
me to that brings me to my main thing, and all praise to the Most High. You know, we are speaking on my brother, and if anybody does know the situation that my brother fell victim to, right there, othel.org. My brother has an appeal coming up because for one, he beat the needle. If anybody kept track of that trial, um, for for one, he didn't get found guilty of the capital murder that he was charged with. Um, the jury, man, I could only imagine how they're feeling now, especially with this law, which I'm getting to. So at the end of the day, my brother didn't get found guilty for capital murder for protecting himself, not just from, as you stated, being able to take things to court, but we now have a long history, especially given the two and a half years ago, all the formations, and that's another thing. We're
mm-hmm.
dealing with an active brother, but the air that everybody was breathing, a few years ago, COVID and all that. Yeah, so our brother, he beat that situation. So just to get straight to it, like how disrespectful this is how I see things. This is how I know a lot of people seeing things. Just how disrespectful. And I can only imagine how scared the jury is. Um, the comments that, the chief of police made, that the jury found my brother guilty for manslaughter. 30 years. And just like you're speaking on, if you can, but he's got an appeal coming, and everybody knows 30 years is excessive for manslaughter that they did not even want to find him guilty of. I mean, just go over and watch it again. All the questions that they had. I mean, oh man. But anyway, so this Senate bill 1092, which
It's in
clearly
Florida.
states, yes, which is in Florida, State Senate Bill 1092, of course, Florida, the Jason Rayner Act. Jason Rayner, that's the officer that put my brother in the worst situation in his life. As I started to say, as you already stated, it was a situation where I'm not even going to get to the background of this officer we're talking about, and just to skim the tip of the iceberg. We're talking about someone that ain't even went to college, like anyway, like whatever it took to get to be an officer, that's what he got. Like his reason for being an officer was to get money on paperwork. Understand? But anyway, it was, my brother had to do what he had to do because, I mean, my brother's a marksman, does security. You know what I'm saying? My brother working McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're dealing with. But the officer was drawing his firearm. You know, there was no court. My brother wouldn't have went to court. My brother would have been another buried man. And this is the thing, bro's built for it. Obviously, bro identifies as an Israelite. You know, as a Levite, a so-called Haitian. You know, and then before all the
Right.
formations, you know, that's irrelevant. Excuse me, but before all the formations, he was already very active in the community. You know,
It's
before.
it's
Go
not
ahead.
it's not irrelevant. It's not irrelevant, True.
Well, just
The
I try to
because
keep all the religious stuff out of it. That's all I
yeah,
mean.
but at the same time, um, it's it's okay to discuss you know to discuss the fact that there are a lot of different beliefs in the world, and as long as we all respect each other's beliefs, nobody should have any problems. And while I broke in here, just real quick, for those that don't know, we're talking about Othel Wallace, Ozone. He was part of NFAC for a while. We're not going to get into all of that.
Even
Um,
before, like I was explaining, even before that, though, you know, he was with the new Black Panther Party. I mean, he was active doing things for the community prior to the making of, you know, in fact, and things of that nature in that
like
time.
going back to RBG.
Absolutely. I mean, he's been doing things for the community. You know, in
Okay,
fact, never even did anything for the community. You know what I'm saying? So let's just make that. I mean, outside of the formations, you know what I'm saying? But once again, you know,
All right. So,
bro. Anyway, yeah.
all right. Let me ask
Go
you
ahead.
this, since you're talking about about doing things for the community. Okay. What was NFAC's end state, and what did NFAC? Because I don't know if you had different chapters based upon the states and the cities. You know what and then breaking down the cities down into different communities. What was NFAC like really doing at let's say at the grassroots level? Okay,
Right.
so
Well, everybody
let's talk about.
clear. Right. Everybody needs to be clear about the very last letter of NFAC and what that stands for, and that stands for coalition. You know, if it wasn't for people like Ozone that had, you know, if it wasn't for the different gun clubs, there would have been no NFAC. You know, like I've been like me and a lot of brothers and sisters been saying a lot lately. You don't rarely see any pictures of Grandmaster Jay without seeing Ozone in them. I say that to say, in fact, is a coalition. Was a coalition. You know what I'm saying? Fred Hampton Gun Club, Huey P. Newton Gun Club, Elmer Geronimo Gun Club. I mean, just, you know what I'm saying, George Jackson Gun Club, New and Old Black Panther Party. I mean, you just name it. There was a coalition of everybody. So if you want to look at what those organizations have done throughout time, then you can say, you know, in fact, but I mean, in fact, did nothing but bring those those organizations together.
Clubs together. Okay, well, it's much bigger than that, brother. Right? It's so much bigger than that. Okay, one is always, of course, the economics behind everything, right? And you heard us on the show talking about how economics controls all, right? And you've also heard me on the show talk about stability begins at the grassroots level, okay? And I can talk to you about these things all day long, okay? But stability really begins at the grassroots level, okay? If you don't have the community support, then everything you're doing, if they're like, well, we don't want it, and you try to push it down their throats or cram it down their throats, it'll fail. Okay. So going to community support means, okay, we want something from the community. Okay. So let me ask you, what would be the buy-in for the community to support NFAC? what's NFAC going to do? So say for instance, it's like I'm giving you I'm telling you to invest into something, right? What's the return on the investment going to be? You see what I'm saying?
But hey, I do wanna let you know. I mean, I was out there, and this just kind of explains to you the making the impact. I'm now, and Barry knows this, and I'm now free. I have nothing over my head, but I didn't make it to Stone Mountain, Georgia, but I made it to Louisville. I skipped state lines and went to Lafayette, Louisiana, and I was on federal supervision. I wasn't supposed to leave nowhere. You understand? So like, I'm what I say that to say this, like, I don't claim to be. In fact, that's just kind of like, and what a lot of people that was there will tell you, like, in fact, it's just in me. You know what I'm saying? Because unlike our brother Otto Wallace, like, I've never been outside of being with the Israelite camp. Which Israelite camps, they don't even agree with uh, demonstrations with like how two-way demonstrations and whatnot. You don't see Israelite camps on the corners with guns. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I say that to say this, Chris, and I want you to get back to what you're saying. I can't speak for NFAC. How specifically when it has to do with GMJ, Grandmaster J, and the neglect of our brother Spite, the neglect of our brother Otha Wallace in their situations, and just I'm not even gonna get, but just the issues that not just myself, but the Black community has with Grandmaster J. He shouldn't be getting the time. He should have never got the time he did. And what he did, he made history. What he did. And I thank him for the things he did. But anyway, I digress with just basically saying, when you say in fact, I just see Grandmaster J. You know what I'm saying? He brought a bunch of stuff together, and that's the one thing I think he did good, was help really bring light to how beautiful all these organizations and how beautiful unity really can be. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead, Chris. I just really, when it comes to finances and backing organizations such as NFAC, I would say don't do it, because you're just going to be funding Grandmaster J, period. And what he does with his money, I don't agree with. Fund the organizations that you saw brought together and are still sticking strong. You know what I'm saying? The organizations that help save our brother's life, Otha Wallace. You know what I'm saying? Help bring $100 and something thousand together. Help pay for 3 lawyers. You know what I'm saying? Help recognize that this is a brother that stood with us. We're tired of speaking for dead bodies. We can count men and women all day, and it's getting to a time where it doesn't matter the culture, the nation, color, creed. The bad police are violating people all over and when you come to Senate Bill 1092, like I'm bringing to the table, I'm just gonna go to the worst of it. And I'm going to say man instead of the word that was really used. But like the white supremacist down there in Florida that was saying, dead man walking, talking about my brother. Now, not just that he beat that case and he's going to come home after this appeal a lot earlier than 30 years. Bro's already got an out date. He's coming home, period. Just for the ultimate haters, he's coming home. But anyway, he's coming home earlier than that with this appeal that we're about to do. But back to my point, all those ones that were saying dead man walking, now they see this Senate Bill 1092, and everybody knows, if you've been watching the Blood Tribe and all the white supremacist movements, that Florida's real thick with white supremacists. You know what I'm saying? How they messing with Disney World. Anyway, now they saying, oh, no, don't tread on me. They realizing over my brother still being alive in this Senate bill, it's wrote in big bold letters. No matter how unjust a police officer is, you have no right to defend yourself.
Yeah, and that's pretty much
I
written.
know I've been pretty long. I know I've been pretty long-winded, and And I'm here because I need to hear your point of view on this, Chris. Just given that you are a black man and you're an officer, how do you feel? Not just about my first question, but this might be my last question. How do you feel about citizens? And let me just go ahead and put a date on it. In 2024, to be continued, not being able to protect themselves from unjustful detainment, just unlawful action of a police officer.
All right. My whole thing and my take on it as being a former police officer out of Metropolitan Police Department, Washington, D.C., coming from a predominantly black police department. You see what I'm saying? DC, at that time, like between 2000 and 2010, that agency was predominantly black, right? And where I used to patrol in my first district, I think there's maybe one white person that I saw the entire time, right? So when I was dealing with the community, it was an all African American community. You see what I'm saying? So I was able to sit there and talk to people more so than automatically just going hands. You see, I think you know what I'm talking about, right? So if I saw you, I'd be like, "Hey, man, what's up?" And if something happened and your name came up, and I'm like, "Look, let me go rap to him, find out what's going on." You know what I'm saying? Before someone else got to you. You see what I'm saying? So it didn't turn into that situation.
You had more engagement in the community.
Say again?
It seems like you had more engagement with the community, on a more civilized level.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, that's the basis of community policing, right? Is garnering that community support, for the police. Okay, but when you don't have when the police departments start losing that support, things can go drastically wrong for the police. You see what I'm saying? Drastically wrong for the police. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's funny you say that. Just a couple of days ago, um, I work. All praise to the Most High. I can. I just got back working. I'm back doing some construction. I work for the union, and there's a brother. He's actually like, I think he's Arabian, and I would say his name, but I don't want to. But anyway, he is an Indiana State police officer. He worked for the Indiana State Police, and he was actually my foreman. So I just found out he was a state police officer like a week ago. Anyway, straight to it, because I want you to get back to what you were saying. There's another man that works with us. He's young man, about 23 maybe, and he wants to be a police officer. He's from a small town, and he's talking about wanting to be IMPD, and just hearing those two talk, Saeed, telling them like, why he's not working, and just basically how he, the youngsters not getting the wake up call, basically, of how, if you want to be one in your little small town, go, don't come to IMPD, today's not the time to be officer in a big city.
Right. So he's not familiar. It sounds like he's from a rural part of town, right? And he's trying to be a police officer in an urban environment. Is that what you're telling me?
Absolutely, and he's not getting a hint from a used to be Indiana State police officer that's telling them right
Right.
now is not the time to be an officer.
Right. So here's the thing, and this is from my own experiences, right? We had a lot of, well, not a lot. We had some police officers that were white, Caucasian, okay, that really had never dealt with the African American community before. So a lot of them come in with their with the preconceived notions or ideas about blacks, because what they see on television becomes their reality. You see, so when they go out and they start to engage with the black community, what they see and recall from television, they put that out, to the black community. You see what I'm saying? Where me,
I'm
on
so
the other hand,
say not only that, like I'm 35. Okay, so I've seen a lot of and let's just make it clear, I'm biracial. So white side German, and I could go back to a little small town in Germany. I think it was 7 generations, 8 generations my grandpa showed me. And then on my other side, I got a cousin that's, getting us all the way back to the transatlantic slave trade. So anyway, Jewish, that's me. So anyway, I say that to say this. I'm biracial. I'm biracial. And I have a cousin, older cousin, that now is now in the bomb squad. He was a sheriff here. Um, and I'm just gonna stick on this one individual. I brought up my age just to say I done seen people go into the police force, and I done seen the type of person that. So anyway, I'm just gonna stick on this one person I work with, just to keep it brief. Recent recent conversations and events. um, just to hear and just to witness people's everyday lives. Um, it's really scary. Just like this 20, 21, 23-year-old boy I'm speaking on. Um, all the times he's told me I was about to pull a gun or just like I'm just gonna say it like this. Um, Even before I caught my charges, whatever, which was a 922G, felon in possession of firearms, which you're speaking to a felon that has no violence or drug felonies on his background. So, but anyway, even when I always had guns, and even when I had them, I never even, I never even carried them much. I did security, things of that nature. Um, man, the mindset, and I bring this up because I think it's deeper than just a white boy from the country going to the hood, or going to the metropolitan area. Because crimes happening everywhere in my city. I don't know exactly where you are, but in my city, crimes happening everywhere, every side of town. It doesn't matter. Um, just the mind frame of what I'm witnessing being the ones that's supposed to be patrolling our streets, it rattles my bones.
all right. So here's the thing, right? Um, those guys in the scout cars are answering the radio. Those are patrol officers. You know what I'm saying? They're running from call to call. Right. Now, my whole thing is, I don't know if, or you live in Indianapolis, you live in the city. I don't know if you live in the city or where you live, but
Yeah,
normally there
I'm from
should
the
be,
far east side. I'm from Post Road.
okay. So normally there should be a unit, a community policing unit, right, that deals with every section of the city. Okay. And I don't know if Indianapolis even has that at all. Okay. But that community policing section should be the ones to engage with the populace, like yourself. Okay. To talk to you. They would organize community meetings. Okay. A community meeting. And they would sit there and be like, hey, this is who we are. This is our function. This is what we're gonna do. Okay. And
I,
they
I
ask
can
you, hey,
tell you
look, what would you like to
I
see?
can tell you when I was with the when I was, every weekend going to the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, I could tell you that we had little city town, town hall meetings, brought up things like potholes and
No, no,
you know,
no, 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 no. That's not exactly what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is how to garner that trust and respect, okay? Because there's a disconnect between the police and the community. All right. How do you bridge that gap? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about
well,
anybody's potholes. Okay.
that
We're
was
not
part of
talking
the
about
that was part of the conversation we had. I mean, it was the chief. I mean, yeah, the chief of the
well, that's
district.
well, that's
It
well,
wasn't
that's
just.
that that's not what this what it should be really about. It should be really about branching the community and the police to work together as one.
How
That's
we go? Let
because
me ask you a question though.
ultimately
And I
you're
can
the eyes
ask.
and ears of the community.
Let me ask you a question. This
You're
is a
not.
personal question. And
I
and and
gotta
I'm and,
hold
and
Go
on.
I'm
ahead.
Time out for just a second. I got to run to the bathroom. You guys continue the conversation, and I'll be right back.
Yes, sir. Let me just ask you one quick question, Chris, and this is a personal one. And this has to do with me
Yeah.
being shot. So you talking about engaging with the police. So um I don't want to get too deep into it, but right after I got shot, I was still, with the ISUPK. Um, so I fell under the, rank. You know what I'm saying? I had superiors. And what I was instructed to do was follow, you know what I'm saying? Try to figure out who shot me. Uh, you know what I'm saying? Try to figure out. At the end of the day, they wouldn't even let me see or give me any photos. I still to this day haven't even seen the video. I got shot right in front of a liquor store on video. I keep being told we just kept on being told what happened, but kept on, and I got told like 6 times that I'll get called back on when I could even see the video of me getting shot. And they never said it was the reason, but they just always said, "Oh, we fear retaliation," and that's just once again just I'm 35, been
Who's
in the
we?
city.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Who's we? Who's we? Who's we? Who's we fear retaliation? Who's the we? You said we fear retaliation. Who is we?
The IMPD, the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department.
Said they fear retaliation because you got shot.
Yeah, they would. You know what they rather do? They came to me with a photo lineup, and I already told you I don't know. I already told you I don't know who shot me. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, let me see the video to see if I. But nah, they'd rather do the old point somebody out, and I'll be damned. I'm not gonna do that to one of my people. But anyway, so yeah, so just on a personal level, how would I got a ton more issues outside of that, but like that was with people who I really respected at the time for advice, and even they just like see why we don't even deal with the police, and I do,
Yeah, yeah.
because even when it comes
So,
to doing things the right way, you know, uh, well, no, they shut it down, but just what it takes to just the cultural differences, and then that's one thing that my white side of the family, my mother's white. I'm her only child. She's from Mooresville, Indiana. That is the most redneck place on the face of this earth, if you ask me. Well, what you feel about Mooresville, Indiana, Barry?
It's a pretty redneck place.
But anyway, yeah, Chris, yeah, man. Like people are really not. And once again, I have family in law enforcement. I'm speaking to you,
Right.
knowing that you weren't like my foreman. Like I love police that really do their job. It's just I really know the history all the way down to the name slave catcher, and man, it's it's that's a hard one, bro. Like I don't I it's a hard one, man. Wanting to even
For sure.
engage, because there is other ways of getting things
Listen.
done.
Of course. Hey, look. Trust me. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I know exactly where you're coming from. You see what I'm saying? Um, and like I said, maybe you need to have the. I don't know if you talk to uh the PD itself. The district and where you're at. Be like, hey, do you have a community policing unit? Do you have something like that? Okay, to like I said, there needs to be that connection between the police and the community. It has to be there, because if not, that's where a lot of problems occur. You see, if you aren't, like, the police and the community aren't one, then guess what? Like the way that you told that the stuff that happened to you, right? You got shot. A lot of people from the community be like, yeah, we know the individual that shot, that shot true. You know what I'm saying? And they'll probably come out and tell. You see? But
But
I
see,
listen. I don't know if
I
it's
do see what I
some
do
other
see
brothers
what
that
you're
shot.
saying.
I don't know if it's some other brothers that shot you. I listen. I don't know if it's some other brothers that shot you or not. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh no, sad to
if they
say, that's
weren't,
what I can tell you. Sad to say, that's what I can tell you. Um, I'm not gonna get too much in detail, but sad to say, that's what I can tell you. It was a black man that shot me, and let's just make it clear, in
okay.
the back. You know what I'm saying? Um, Fired at me 7 times and hit me 4. Um, but and I just want to
All right.
just to rub shoulders with you on this, just to walk with you on this. I think that's why it's really important to let your community know who you are. We
Of
are
course.
living in
Of
we
course.
are living in days, and it's so sad. I'm up here in Indianapolis, obviously. I go down south because Southern hospitality is a real thing. Like, people know their neighbors down there. You come up here to Indianapolis or something, good luck even knocking on your neighbors. Like, people don't even want to, like, you don't touch my yard. Like, the privacy, like the line isn't, the line is there. Don't cross it. I don't want to know you. People, they are cut out, and they're not gonna cut anything. They're not gonna make room for nothing else, and it gets all bad from there. So I just say, hey, 35 years of me being here in Indianapolis, being all around the Midwest, you know, uh, I'd say before you let the police know, the police and the government's going to recognize who you are and what you're doing, especially, and just like what you were speaking on, we just wanted a photo or a video that we could make a still shot of. So at the time, me and the organization that I was with, on top of the other organizations that I deal with, just simply put a face, put a hey, have you seen, contact us, I mean, I'm an Israelite, so I mean, at the end of the day, just on a spiritual aspect, with the soldiers and the brothers that I'm around and the things that I stand on, like, hey, like, I forgive you, brother, and there's and I'm alive right now to let you know that I forgive you and you didn't kill me. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, we justice ain't what it is. Justice in my eyes and the people's eyes who, you know, want to get it done, just like the police asked, and they knew, like, that's all we wanted from them. If you want to do something for us, that's already doing something for the community. The community's gonna do something for us, you know. And you can't
All
even
right.
give
So
us,
so so
you can't even give me
listen.
a picture of my. You can't even give us a simple photo, you know.
Okay. All right. So check this
It's
out.
deeper
Right.
than that. Okay.
Um. Well, going back to the whole community thing, we talk about, and you heard me talk about this stuff about in Afghanistan, how I used to build village security forces. It's really militias. That's used to, build militias so they could actually protect their own communities. You see what I'm saying? From insurgent and terrorist attacks. Okay, so that's you would have to clear that with the sheriff's office or the state police or even the police department. But really, something like that to protect your own community, patrol your own communities, so things like that don't occur. You see what I'm saying? That's where at the grassroots level, that's where you want to start. Okay, so that whole NFAC thing, I thought was like really supposed to protect the community. It's almost like the Black Panther Party. All right. Do you know why the Black Panther Party was so successful? I'm sure you and Barry know why the Black Panther Party was actually so
Absolutely.
successful. I
I mean, yeah, because
okay.
of the
It was,
community
it was
And
engagement.
ingrained
here's
in
the
the
thing.
community.
It was the community
So,
engagement. I
so,
mean, they
so
had classes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when it
right,
comes
right.
to everything that builds a community, they had it. Lawyers, doctors, teachers. I mean, yeah,
Everything.
I know you.
Right. So you've heard me talk about that, but then you also heard me talk about like Al Chapo and Hamas and Hezbollah and all and the Taliban and all of these groups. But what do they all have in common? They all did the same thing. You see what I'm
They're
saying?
all
They all
community.
did the
They're
same
all
thing.
entwined
They
in the
all wanted
communities.
exactly right. They had community organizers, community leaders, whatever you want to call them, just like in Haiti, right? It's all the same thing, right? It's all the same thing. But eventually, they garnered the community support. They protected the people, gave the people what the government wasn't doing for them. You see, and that's how they became a wrecking force through like, and then becoming um, members of the government, like Hamas became a member of, or actually became the governing body of Gaza, right? Hezbollah became a governing body of Lebanon, right? And I mean, Al Chapo wasn't really a governing body of anything, but the thing about it is he was building the infrastructure for the community. He was providing them with security, giving them jobs, giving them money, right? Medical, all that stuff. The same stuff the government wasn't doing, he did. So he was able to garner that community support. And they all
The
did the same
Taliban
thing. So there's already a
Taliban
blueprint out
became the
there
government of
if you want to use
Afghanistan.
it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Taliban did the same thing. So
I want to,
the blueprint's there.
right. I want to bring up Pink Flamingo. She's been waiting for a long time. She's an expert
Okay.
on IVF, in vitro fertilization, which is going on, with attack of that. We're gonna put that topic to like Monday night, the IVF
Okay.
topic to Monday night. But I want to bring her up because she also lives in Indianapolis and can kind of chime in on what True's talking about.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, shalom. How you doing?
Good.
I'm good. I don't think I have quite the perspective that you do, True, from the policing. Other than my children are adopted, and they are black, and um, my son had some run-ins with the police, and I don't think was always treated the best, but we never heard about it. So I think there's something to that, what you guys are talking about.
Okay, what about
Hey,
Do you
can I speak on one? Can I just speak on one thing that I've seen Indianapolis IMPD. They've at least put it out there, and there has been a lot of police shootings, but there's been a lot lately. But there has been situations that I have seen personally. You know, there is a night and day difference from like these days. There's a night and day difference from a good officer and a bad officer. An officer that knows how to deal with someone that is really mentally, you know, like I've seen the best and I've seen the worst in these days. You know, so like, and I've dealt with the best and I've dealt with the worst in these days. You know, and it's only getting better and it's only getting worse. So I mean, I really appreciate the officers that really are doing, you know, really cleaning up their community, you know, and doing right, you know, by their community, you
Right.
know. I just want to make that real clear.
Pink
That's all
Flamingo,
I
do
want.
you, as far as neighborhoods go, uh, do you see interactions within the neighborhoods you have lived in within Indianapolis, or do you see a difference now, say, compared to living in Indianapolis in the past, as far as how do you know your neighbors? Do you meet your neighbors? Are we as isolated as a lot of people try to portray us
I
being?
I think it depends on the neighborhood that you're in. When we had our house, um, we knew the neighbors that were in our immediate vicinity, um, and I think that was pretty true for that particular neighborhood. Um, but when I moved to to an apartment, I didn't know anybody. It's like nobody wanted to interact. You could look at somebody and say hi, and they didn't really want to interact with you. Um, I mean, I lived in this apartment for 8 years, and I couldn't tell you five people's names that I met
I don't
there.
mean to cut you. I don't mean to cut you off. It's so funny though that you say that because once again, I remember going down south. I was in Georgia and apartment complexes here, all the doors are locked. You go down south, every apartment door open, and everywhere you feel me, it's like a block. It's like a little house party down there.
Yeah,
Every
it wasn't
apartment,
like a house party where I lived, um, but
right?
but
Okay,
now
okay. You've lived. Have you lived in other cities in other states?
I lived in Fort Wayne for about 7 years and didn't really know a lot of our neighbors up there either. I
Okay,
mean,
all
we
right.
had friends through various organizations, but they didn't live in our neighborhoods. And
Okay,
then,
I'm only bringing all this up because Chris's point was there needs to be a better interaction between the police force and the communities. But are we gradually, or maybe not so gradually, getting to the point where there's no such there's only the individual's property? My concern ends at my fence line. Stay the f off my yard and leave me the f alone.
I think it depends on
And
your neighborhood, Barry. I mean,
Right,
I'm
right,
here in a condo now, and this community seems so much different than the apartment complex. I mean, people know each other, and I feel like that if we needed a policing situation, or if they wanted to have a community meeting with the area police, I think that people would attend that. You know, I just think it depends on the area that you live in and the group of people that you're with. It just seems
right.
like every place is different.
And from my understanding, how that works, it is in the more high end neighborhoods where where the community has a neighborhood crime watch, and the local law enforcement is aware of, you know, whoever's those members of that community, you know. But like I just, you know, and I gotta bring this up, you know, and it's another question I want to ask you, Chris. I mean, we know since basically, I mean, if you just want to just keep it brief. Let's just bring up the civil rights movement. The thing has always been to come together, and separate. Come together and separate. Become more dependent. And I'm just gonna end this with saying, I think once areas more metropolitan, can do that, especially in the Black community, build these cadres, that a lot of the revolutionaries speak on, um, I like to basically just say, build a little Black Wall Street if that's what you want. You know what I'm saying? But it takes the unity, it takes the community engagement. You're not gonna get nowhere if your neighbor don't even not only does it start from your household, but it starts from your neighborhood and your community.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Chris?
How do you feel about, I mean, just knowing, and my question to you, Chris, is simple, my bad being long-winded, is just knowing that, a lot of the revolutionary mind frame, not just the Black, but a lot of the different cultures' revolutionary mind frame is to come together and separate from who've been oppressed by. So I mean, my question is, I mean, how do you feel about that mind frame?
Chris?
All right. All right. So here's the thing, right? Um, I've seen this numerous times, likewise in Nigeria. Okay, how the Igbo, okay, since they feel that they're oppressed all the time, they want their own land, their own space, and they want to have like their own little country inside Nigeria, right? And that's Biafra, okay? And it's kind of like what he's talking about, but also in Spain too, in the Basque regions, right, where they feel like they want to be separate from everyone else and do their own thing because they're feeling that they're oppressed, okay? But the best example I'm seeing out of that, right, what I'm seeing right now is in Nigeria with the Biafra movement. Okay, I don't know if True knew about the Civil War back in was that the 60s or 70s, with Nigerian army and the Biafran people and how it split Nigeria. Um, but the thing about it is now there's kind of like that resurgence of that sentiment, and it's actually been going on for some time. Okay, and in Nigeria, they feel like all the rest of the people don't want the Igbos, in government, because in Nigeria, there's never been an Igbo president the entire time. They've either been a Hausa or Yoruba, but there's never been an Igbo president. Okay, so it's all in the Constitution. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be all inclusive, but it's really not. All right. So they're feeling that they're being oppressed. Now you know what they're doing in Nigeria? They have what we call the Biafran Liberation Army. They have IPOB, which a lot of people are calling them a terrorist organization. Okay, they're kind of they're the equivalent of what we call ISWAP, or formerly known Boko Haram. Okay, but they actually battle the government on a lot of things. Okay, and that's also like Biafran Liberation Army. So there are those other groups, like I said, in specifically in Nigeria, which I'm talking about, that I can relate to what you're saying here in the United States. You know what I'm saying? But yours is on like a much smaller level. You see what I'm saying? A much smaller level.
And I mean,
theirs is a little bit bigger.
Out
It's
there,
still the same issue.
right? And I mean, those governments out there, I don't know. Is it safe to say they're running more rapid than the ones here? When it comes to the actual street patrols, I guess you say.
Well, here's the thing. Of course, in Africa and in Nigeria, um, especially when you get down to where the Igbo are, they're pretty much fighting back against the military and the police. See what I'm saying? They're organized. They have the weapons. They have the logistics, and they're actually fighting against the government, so they can have their own state, their own place. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
That's from what I know. Yeah, and that's because they feel that they're oppressed. They don't feel like any goods are going to come out of, what
But
the government of
I
Nigeria
guess
is doing.
what I'm just asking is, you don't have to get into the details, but we're talking on oppression, and I'm just gonna, just not to be long-winded, I'm just gonna get straight to it. I asked, if, am I safe to say that, when it comes to the street patrols and all the way down to the street patrols and the government out there, do they not run a little more rabid? Are they not, what I'm saying? I mean, we talk about Brazil and all that, what I'm saying? Like how, different police, they'll just smoke you for no reason.
Oh, that listen, that happens in Nigeria frequently. Okay,
well,
that
this is
happens
what
in Nigeria frequently.
I'm bringing, just like you're, comparing with, I'm getting to one. I'm gonna bring this back. The Senate Bill 1092, which by law, and I still want you to, if you can, just really tell me how you feel about this. A law, Senate Bill 1092, revolving around, and this is personal, and thank God we're not speaking on another dead black man, another dead father, which Jason Rayner was, another brother that cares about you, everybody. I mean, your rights more than anything. How do you feel about a law? If it wasn't, and this is the last time I'm really say on this level, if this law was already in effect and passed, bro would be, he'd be dead right now. It wouldn't be no appeal. How do you feel about this a law that would just say they can do what they can do in other countries by law?
Okay, so go back and let's rehash that Senate bill that they're trying to pass right now. Give me a little bit more detail about what they're saying.
Are you able to at all, Barry, pull? I'm on the phone. Are you able to at all? I know you said you spoke, and I'm sure you skipped it. Or do you have anything you could pull up on it? Because I mean, but at the end of the day, I don't know how it's better to say it. In big bold letters. I don't know how it's better to say it. You will lose your right to defend yourself from unlawful detainment and things of that nature. And I don't know how it's better to say it by saying bro would have got the lethal injection. He would have been found guilty of capital murder if such law was passed. But the
right, so
deliberation at the jury,
how about this?
And all, oh, my bad, go ahead.
So how about this? Why don't you let me research this, all right, before I give you like an answer, because I'm really too ignorant to even talk about something like which I don't know anything about. So let me research this, and what I'll do is I'll get back to you. Okay.
Bill, you could. It's called the Jason Rayner Act because it's revolved. While you're at it, if you never really looked in depth, look at the situation of bro. Look at the situation of Oath.
Okay.
It's the Officer Jason Rayner Act would enhance punishment for crimes against law enforcement. Is how it's phrased here on Plystron 13.
And my bad, Barry, which they already did. Once again, he got 30 years on a manslaughter, which manslaughter doesn't carry that, and they. It had to do with because it was a firearm or something had to do because it was law enforcement, something of that nature, But
it says the bill is called the Officer Jason Rayner Act and is named after Daytona Beach police officer who was shot during a confrontation outside an apartment in 2021. Shooter Othel Wallace argued in court that he was defending himself when he shot Rayner, who died of his injuries 55 days later.
He died of COVID, some pneumonia or something like that. Anyway.
Okay. All right.
So I just want to I won't ask any more questions. I know you probably got to go, but I do want to just simply note, Chris, just from a black perspective, from a black man perspective, and from this wasn't built around just any other black. Well, this was a person an active person, but and just in a law enforcement perspective, how do you feel about? In a perspective of different countries, because I know you speak a lot on them. How do you feel about law enforcement and in the civilian man, woman, or child not being able to defend themselves, like against?
All right, so here's the thing, right? Let me like if me personally, this is just me speaking. Okay.
That's all I want to know is you. I
Right.
call you and Bert
This
dynamic duo.
Right. This is just me speaking. Right now, me being a former police officer from a legitimate police department. You know what I'm saying? It's one, and Metropolitan Police Department, Washington D.C. is like the 6th or 7th largest police department in the United States. So with that being said, we have I have a lot of experience dealing with different situations. So, say for instance, I'm driving and I get pulled over by some cop who's maybe I don't know, somewhere in Podunk, whatever. Maybe I'm somewhere in like Alabama or Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? And it's in the middle of Podunk, somewhere or another, right? And Bubba is the dude that's coming, for the traffic stop, right? And for whatever reason, he's telling me, give me your license, registration, proof of insurance. First question, like I'm gonna be like, so what's the justification for the stop? You know what I'm saying? And if he doesn't tell me, I'll be like, well, okay, yeah, here's your stuff, but I still want to know the justification for the stop. And if so, you need to write me a notice of infraction, give me the ticket. Let's just say let's say it escalates to where he tells me to step out the car. Okay. And it starts to get heated and all this other stuff. And I say, I want you to call for an official. Right.
Hold on, are you stepping out of the car?
I want you to call for it.
That's what I want to know. Are you stepping out of the car?
Yeah. Because here's the thing. I am stepping out of the car because it's a lawful order. And there's court precedents, right? There's case law on this. So therefore, not technically, legally, yes, he can step me out of the vehicle. Right. So me being a cop, I know this. Right. So I'm not going to argue with that at all. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to buck against that.
A situation like this is that I don't know if he was on duty or off duty, but that sergeant, that black sergeant, and them 2 police officers, they ended up macing him and everything. He had a K9. And it's just like, are you familiar with this situation? Because the officers ended up getting it. The officers was dead wrong. They ended up getting in trouble. I mean, he was in a black towel. He had his army stuff on and everything. Like, and the officers got out pointing guns.
Right.
Get out.
So back on this scenario, but back on this scenario, right? But back on this scenario, right? Of course, I would comply with what the officer has to say. Okay. But as soon as you go to like put your hands on me, then we got an issue. Okay. For me, then we got an issue. I'm not going to let you sit there, beat me or punch me for no reason. Okay. It'd be one thing if I reached out and I went to attack you, all right, to attack the officer, but no way, shape, form or fashion am I gonna let some hillbilly redneck, police officer put their hands on me, and I haven't done anything.
I know you saying beat and punch.
At that point, at that point, what I would do is I'm going to do what I need to do to protect myself, and I'm going to leave it at that. Because you're not going to put your hands on me and think it's okay. You lost your mind. Okay, that's just a no-go. That's me talking. Okay, you're not going to put your hands
Okay.
on me.
I feel like that.
I want to flip it around, Chris. Now you're the police officer in Washington D.C., and there's somebody potentially coming at you. You know, with the same aggression that let's say the white hillbilly cop had towards you as a civilian, not knowing you were a police officer. How do you handle as a police officer a member of the black community? Individual? Yeah.
Okay. And they're aggressive and they're coming at me. What we have in police is what we call the use of force continuum. Okay. The use of force continuum is, okay, one, it's your police presence. Okay. So and then it goes to your verbal commands. Okay. Then from the verbal commands, you're not complying, then we go hands. Okay. From hands, if we're still not getting the desired effect that we need, then we go to OC spray, okay, or even our baton, okay. And the last thing we can use is our service weapon, and that's deadly force. But I'm allowed to use the amount of force necessary to effect the arrest. Okay, that includes up into deadly force. Does everyone understand?
Okay.
You understand?
And my whole reason of being here, and I'm gonna try to make this the last time I ask this. Just given those steps, and everybody knows those steps. I mean, police training, it's out there. How do you feel about a civilian, a man, woman, a child, nation, color, creed has nothing to do with it at this point, not being able to defend themselves? Because I wanted you to keep talking, but I was trying to stop you when you went straight to, if officer thinks he's gonna punch me, that's and bro's situation is a perfect situation. It didn't take punching or not. It took that officer to grab bro by his collar as bro was trying to walk away, and for that officer to be grabbing for his service weapon. And thank God my brother, he knows his firearm. He's a marksman. How do you feel about a civilian not being? I mean, especially you being a police, ex-police officer or whatever. And I've heard. I'm sure you don't like bad cops. That can take those same.
No, I don't.
I know, that's why I'm talking to you. But those same officers can take those same procedures, just like that one that, sorry to his family, but he's not here no more. And it didn't take him punching. He tried to grab my brother by. But anyway, not being able to defend themselves from those level of things on how not being able to protect yourself from that by law. I mean, because it is a law, and it's a law that we have that we can protect ourselves from that. It's there for a reason. Bro's alive for a reason. Not being able to protect yourself from the training of
okay,
police.
So here's the thing. I think everyone. I think every person should be allowed to protect themselves. All right. Now, at what level or use of force that you want to use, I'm not going to sit there and say, what you should do. I'm not going to do that. But what I can say is everyone should be allowed to protect themselves, defend themselves against any unreasonable or unlawful attack from a law enforcement officer. I really believe that. You know what I'm saying? Because the same with this, listen.
Everybody does. I mean,
I would not listen. I do not want any police officer putting their hands on me, period. Okay? And granted, yes, I may get locked up, but at the same time be like, guess what? You try to wreck my shit, I'm gonna wreck your shit too. You see what I'm saying? And to let him know that guess what? It's not okay. That's all I'm saying.
I know you're gonna
And they'll
do
remember
more
for that.
study. You're gonna do more studying, but this Senate bill that they're trying to pass, and Florida's known. Florida's known for different laws for being kind of a test ground, and then it just spreading like wildfire throughout the country.
Right, because that's case law. That's what we call case law.
Right. This, I mean,
Okay.
exactly what you're speaking on is straight humanity. This Senate bill that they're trying to pass it's taking all that right away. You have the right to do that now. Everything you just spoke on doing, you have the right to do. You know, just like bro had the right, and that's why he's alive. This Senate bill that they're trying to pass, it takes that away. So just us having that on paper, you know, this is when the pen and pad has really got serious, because people, you know, once again, I'm gonna bring up the white 2A community that was saying dead blank walking, but I'm just gonna say dead man walking, just to be on the extreme level of things that was happening then. Now they're just like, hold on, don't tread on me. You know, this law affect me. You know, they're waking up to, you know, this Senate bill passes, this, you know, let alone everything else that's going on in this country with the border and all that and whatnot. You know, this is another thing that I would hate to say I told you so, you know, because it's already, you know, we already tried to tell people we told you so when the trial of bro was going on, when it was dead man walking.
Yeah.
I say that to simply say we have the rights. To get that right taken away, it can't happen. My bad, man. Can't happen.
All right, True. We'll give Chris some time to look at it, and we'll have you back. All right.
All right, man. Barry, Chris, the dynamic duo. I just appreciate y'all, man. And Chris, Barry, as I've stated to you on a personal note, I appreciate what you've done, you know, with the coverage and your platform when it's came to times of the unity and chaos. That's what I call it. You know, it's sad that it's sad that my people unite in the chaos. You know, but the way you cover things and just knowing the backlash that you've got for it and things of that nature. I once again want to say thank you. And as I stated to you before, you should never hesitate. You know, you've never said anything toxic. You should never hesitate. It's on you. I know that you were told, you know, certain things by certain individuals. I'm here telling you now, you know, with the history that you've had and the respect from the Black community, Black men and women that I know, good brothers and sisters that I know, you know, I'm here for a reason, man. And one of the big ones is to say I really appreciate you, man, for since the beginning, you know.
Well, thank you for saying that. We'll get you back up here soon. Shalom, brother.
Othel.org, everybody. And
oh shit, sorry. Go ahead again. Othel.
No, my bad.
Othel.
I was just saying Othel.org. You know, he's got an appeal coming up, and stand against this Senate bill. It'll go against your rights and everyone's rights that you love. You know that we have. So
all right, brother.
I ain't with that.
We'll talk with you soon.
Shalom.
Thanks for coming on here. Chris, one other thing I want to touch on real quick here. This weekend, and I was hoping to have more time. This weekend, there are events coming up around the Scientology, the Church of Scientology. And I wanted to get into the Church of Scientology a little bit. We're not going to have time to do that. But there are events coming up this weekend in Los Angeles and in Austin, Texas. Lori Arnold is going to be covering, and and protesting the event in Austin, Texas tomorrow. Lori had an interaction with a police officer tonight that was unique. He told her ahead of time how loud she could be, and um, her normal speaking voice was almost over the level, the decibel level that was acceptable. He had a little decibel level thing here, and when she screamed out, Scientology is a cult as a test, she was like up near the jet engine level because Lori can be loud. And is that a normal thing that you have
No,
noise
no,
levels for protests?
no,
And the guy says, and the
no.
guy specifically says it's subjective, meaning that he doesn't want it loud.
Listen. As many protests and demonstrations I've been to, all through DC, no one has ever had a decimal reader or meter. Like what? No.
Yeah, this was tonight, and this was tonight outside the Church of Scientology in Austin, where they're getting ready for the grand opening down there. And Lori and Echo were just kind of scoping the area out, and had an encounter with the police officer who basically told them, if you speak above your normal voice, you can be put in jail. And you cannot cuss because vulgarity would be it would be offensive, and they will put you in jail.
Offensive to who? That's so. Check this out, right? It's offensive if you cuss, but if you curse in front of a group of people that are around, your same age group, it's late at night, then cursing. Like, what level of curse words are you using? See what I'm saying?
Hey, Lori can cuss. I'm just
ridiculous.
saying.
I mean, but not only that's protected under the First Amendment.
I kind of thought it was freedom of speech. Yeah.
Because let me tell you something, people can say whatever they want to the police, and I just can't lock you up because, oh, you cursed at me, or I felt something. It doesn't work that way. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Big cops, people can say whatever they want to the police. I got F you, all sorts of shit. People used to talk to me, but I just can't go lock people up just because, well, I felt this way. That's not how the law works. You see?
But at the same time,
how it works.
But at the same time, we started out all of this with you telling True that at that point where you're getting arrested, that officer is the ultimate authority. So while it may be you're getting arrested for an asinine reason, trying to appeal it to the officer is not.
Yeah. No, not on the street. You listen. You will never be that police officer on the street ever. That is not the place to battle with the police. You'll lose all day long. It doesn't even matter. Like I said, that officer has the right to take away your freedom. Okay, he can take away your freedom, but furthermore, he can take your life. And that's what people need to understand. Okay. Now, you think you're going to challenge that cop on the street, but you got another thing coming. That is the most powerful individual in the United States. That uniformed police officer. I kid you not. If you want to test that waters, go right ahead. You will lose. I'm telling you now.
No, I don't want to. I'm just people, because again, Lori's going to be in Austin, Texas tomorrow. Everybody watch that. And there's going to be a protest going on in Los Angeles. Again, this is bigger than I was aware of, this Scientology cult and the accusations against it. And and so we're going to have people that we know that are involved, and I just want all of them to have the absolute best information going into this thing, because chances are there are going to be some conflicts.
Of course.
So
all day long.
yeah.
All day long.
So thank you.
And just that you know. Oh yeah, for sure. No problem, Barry.
All right, man. We will we'll be back on Monday night.
Okay.
And then probably another
Monday
night
night.
during the week. Next Friday night, I'm going to try to have a group of shoot, I can't think of the word. Representatives that were at the Philadelphia Democratic National Convention. Delegates is the word I was trying to think of.
Okay.
I'm going to try to have some delegates on next Friday night. So we'll try to set up either like maybe a Monday, Wednesday of next week or something. But that with everything going on in the world, we got to keep we just got to keep talking to people, letting people know what's going on, and hopefully giving them information to make their informed decisions on things. And you're a big part of that. And I thank you very much for being here.
And like I said, Barry, I'm always grateful that you have me on your show. I truly am. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. We'll be back Monday night at 9.
All right, brother.
All right. That's our friend Chris. I thought this was a really interesting, valuable conversation tonight. I hope you did too, and you'll consider liking, subscribing, sharing. Guy Bassett will end with Guy's comment. I've been watching all the different protests in Hollywood. I have all the channels subscribed. It's pretty interesting, especially when DOA got involved 2 weeks ago. He just got out of jail. Yes. And actually, I think I saw Guy. I think I saw you in one of the chats. I've watched some of that. Of course, DOA. I normally call people that have been on here friend of the show. DOA has been on here, but DOA also tried to use me and Anarchy Princess and some other people to start this race war thing. So, I'll say what happened to DOA should not have happened, but I don't wish him any ill in any way, shape, or form. But I will say also that the people in California may not know all of DOA's history. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt at the moment, and hopefully that he's like turned over a new leaf or something, and he's found what he's supposed to be doing and where he's supposed to be doing it at. And I wish him nothing but the best. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. Again, there's going to be a fairly significant event going on in Hollywood tomorrow that Guy's talking about, that I will be monitoring. Of course, Lori, we got to monitor Lori. And so if anything happens at any of those that is, significant, I'll hop on here and help to get the word out. Otherwise, we'll just be monitoring tomorrow, take Sunday off. It's been a stressful, couple of weeks. My sister passed away last week, and this week, of course, we've had a lot of things going on. It's just been stressful. It just continues to be. So we'll monitor tomorrow and hopefully take Sunday off. And we will be back Monday night at 9 p.m., if not before. 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 7 Mountain, 6 on the West Coast in the Pacific time zone. Monday night, Chris will be back with us, and we're going to have, I'm going to see if Pink Flamingo will come up, and we'll talk about how important this, and a lot of people don't even know what in vitro fertilization, IVF, they don't even know what it is, let alone how impactful it can be, and how potentially impactful the ruling in Alabama that just came out this week could be as well. So we'll talk about that, bring that up Monday night as well. Thank you all so very much for being here. If you want to email American Doofus, DUFUS as far as Doofus, at gmail.com. If you'd like to help support the show, Cash App is $AMERICANDUFUS. Again, please consider hitting the subscribe, the like. The like button, it's not an ego thing. It's an algorithm thing. The more likes you get, the more potential views you're going to get from people that might find out that they want to follow the channel to get information. And I hope that's the case. And I thank all of you again for being here. Love you all like chocolate chip cookies. And I mean that. It's a dark world. We need lights. Try to be a light. See you next time. Thanks.